All right, guys, welcome to the Haven. We have our wonderful friend of the channel, Adam here. Adam here to tell us about Zebra Dao. Just a quick reminder, nothing you hear on this AMA is financial advice, and AMAs are a chance for us to ask questions. They are not endorsements. Adam, welcome back, man.
It's a pleasure to be back, man. Things have been a little slow. We've had to definitely, look through the mound of projects that are here and pick out the gems, and that's what I love about your channel. I've also been doing the same, so happy to be here on behalf of Zebra Dao, talking about how they're looking to bring DAO features to NFT platforms. It's a lot here, but it's also a pretty simple, type of project to understand. So I'm excited to talk about it, man.
I'm really excited to have you on this channel, man. It makes me happy every single time, and you're the best presenter out there. So
I appreciate it. All right. Well, first I'll kind of introduce myself since it has been a little bit of time. My name's Adam. Usually I don't sound as stuffed up as this, but because of the hurricane, it kicked up a bunch of junk in the air and I'm kind of all stuffed up. But my name's Adam. I've been in crypto since about 2017, 2018. Really got deep into DeFi in about 2020 and especially 2021. That summer of DeFi, learned about ApeSwap, learned about, decentralized exchanges and projects, and worked on a couple. And, one thing led to another. I started being a voice chat specialist for multiple different projects. And what I've done, especially recently, is I've actually been taking on less projects and verifying them more. So, for example, Zebra Dao, I'll talk about the team now right after introducing myself, but I now require 100% video chat with the team. So just as you said, Achilles, you like to throw in that video chat once in a while. I think that's great because it's that extra step of verification, and also the community loves it.
I think we're all getting a little bit more weary towards those that truly remain to stay anonymous in this space.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this then.
Oh, your internet's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. I might not be able to have a visual up because I'm on my phone here, but would you mind just having the Zebra Dao website up?
Not at all. I'll share my screen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, apologies for that. I'm going to have to figure out what's going on here, but I didn't want to delay anymore, so I'll just do it from my phone. Do I sound okay, though? Am I pretty clear?
I'm not going to lie. Your phone sounds amazing.
Okay. All right.
I was actually thinking to myself, we spent all this money on technology, and the phones just do everything just as well. It's crazy.
They really do, though. That's the funny thing is, sometimes they have better cameras than high-end cameras. They have better microphones. I don't know, man. It's, it makes sense. We spend most of our time on this thing. So I guess, better do everything. But anyways, as I was saying, that was a little bit about me. Now going into the team, and just on the tail end of that, because I think I got disconnected, I was just saying that, just like you do, Achilles, I like to, video chat, kind of verify the teams that I present on behalf of now, because out of the, 40 plus teams that I've represented, I've had a really, really good track record, but it hasn't been perfect. So I want to strive for perfection when it comes to security and making sure that I'm doing the best by investors. So now I just require those video chats. So that goes into the team now. It's a little hard to see this on the main page, but if you go to the docs and white paper, I feel bad because I'm making you navigate through all this. But if anyone wants to see it, the docs and white paper on there, if you scroll down to, where is it here? Near the bottom. Yeah, near the bottom, page 10, I believe, page 10. It's going to have the team. So what I love is, they have themselves there. This is a pretty big team, comprised of five individuals here. The guy that I specifically talked with, and if you don't mind going to, I think it is page 10. Yeah, it should be page 10.
Roadmap. Let's see if we can find the team. I'll find the team.
Oh, it might be titled as page 10, but it's probably further down. Yeah, number 10.
There we go.
There we go. Hey, so this is the team. So I actually video chatted with Brian Morales, and I can tell you he definitely is in New York. I think that picture in the background there's a New York Stock Exchange, and pretty busy dude. He was in the middle of shopping while I was talking to him, but he took some time to talk to me, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in New York right now. I'm getting a few things done, but no problem, like doing this quick video chat." So basically, I just asked him a few questions, essentially like, what gave you inspiration to want to do this type of project? How did you meet the team? And who is the team? So first I should say like a little bit about him. So he's a CEO and he's had a pretty good amount of experience in, entrepreneurial endeavors, specifically around technology. He's also been a financial engineer and in the management sector as well, and has a master's from the Polytechnic School, I believe somewhere in Europe. The entire team is from Europe, but he currently resides in the US now. But the big thing for him as far as vision is that he wanted to kind of bring a DAO mechanism to NFT projects. And what I actually found through talking with him was he wants to do this not only just for his project, but also make it like a B2B type product that he can then market to other projects as well. So that's kind of cool because as they build out this infrastructure, they are first battle testing it on their end, making sure everything runs smoothly, making sure everything, is adopted well, making tweaks here and there. But then they can also market that to other projects as well. When I say projects, I mean specifically NFT marketplaces. So emerging NFT marketplaces, not really like the big ones just yet, like, OpenSea or something like that, but some of the smaller ones sprouting up. You'll even see a lot of the times projects will have an NFT marketplace as a like secondary or tertiary feature. They'll say, oh, we're also launching an NFT marketplace, right? Well, if those projects want to add DAO mechanisms and have them be polished and without much of an issue, they can have this as like an out of box, type of add-on that can be layered on top. So it's pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was a kind of a cool approach to this. I'll be honest, there's not much information on that just yet. I had to kind of dig a little bit to be able to get that because he wants to keep it a little bit on the DL because it hasn't really been done before. So he says, like, first we want to release it on our platform, polish everything up. So it'll be more of a traditional NFT marketplace with DAO implementations. But then that B2B approach is going to be pretty dang new. I've never seen that done before. And that is really going to be like the whole like second half of the project, I would say. But going back to the team here, he was just really dissatisfied with what was currently on the market when it comes to the merging of the two. The fact that community members can vote on the way in which marketplaces work as far as fees, as far as different features, what projects they're letting in, what type of NFTs they're focusing on, those sort of things. And he said, well, let me bring together this team. So this team has been working on this for, I believe it was like last couple months. I think it was like 4 or 5 months or so. And everyone here is from, the startup type of culture, and they're all based, in the same European, country that he was from. I can't remember exactly what country it was, but I think it was like, I'm not even gonna pretend to remember exactly what country it was, but it was somewhere in Europe, and they're all based out of there. But they've since moved and such. But this is an experienced team that also isn't afraid to put their name on this as well. Now, as far as full doxing, you can go on LinkedIn and actually see their, I believe it's their developer. Yes, Teresa. You can see that she's on there. The rest of the team is going to plan to dox as well later on. But of course, like any type of crypto project, you first want to be successful, and then you want to attach your official name to it because there's a lot that goes into that, right? Prior work, future work. You have to first establish yourself before you can really say, hey, this is all that I do, basically. So, but I do like that they have their picture here, and I can verify Brian right there is the same dude I talked to, which is nice to see. It's nice to see because you never want to get on the phone with someone that looks completely different or has a different name or a different accent or sometimes even a different color than the person that's on the website. I haven't had that happen yet, but I wouldn't be surprised because, again, crypto's the Wild West. But anyways, that's the team. That's kind of like the high level of really why they wanted to create this. And then also as far as KYC, I'm not a KYC company by any means. So I would look at the actual KYCs that were performed, one of which was from Authentic and the other was from CoinSniper. Both of them did KYCs for this project.
Not being totally familiar with the platforms that you're referring to. I guess I know CoinSniper, but their KYC, what does it exactly mean as far as the safety of the project is concerned? Like, it's one thing we've been focusing a lot on this channel is, let's say something does go wrong or something is untoward about it. What is that KYC? Does it get released? Is it just that we know that the people are creating it are the people they say?
It's more so going to be the secondary one. And I appreciate that you spend time on that too, because, whether it be Pink Sale, whether it be GemPad or anything really, there's a lot of issue as of recent when it comes to what are we doing with this KYC? Is it just being collected and then never being shared or being stowed away somewhere? So I know Pink Sale does release their KYCs, which is great. As far as these two platforms, I don't know their exact policy, to be honest. I would suggest anyone that's interested in this project to go in and actually see, because it always changes too. like I know GemPad, they're sticking pretty strictly to, no, we're not releasing it, and we're working with the authorities on anything that might come up. But also they're kind of flexing a little bit here and there because, there's such demand for it, whereas Pink Sale from the start has just pretty much always released it. But, it really depends. It can get you into legal issues if you release it, but then also the community should have access to that because, of course, something goes wrong. They should have the right to do, independent, tracking down of these people to potentially get compensation back and such. So as far as those, I'm just going to err on the side of safety and say they're probably just playing it safe and not releasing it, especially because they're newer KYC type of companies. So they don't want to run the risk of getting into any legal issues. So to my understanding, it's just going to be kind of the same approach GemPad does, where they're holding it pretty close to their chest and then they'll work with authorities. But as far as verification, all that it's saying is that, these are the core team members and these people have access to the actual contract. So to my understanding, I don't believe this was a multi-sig. I could be wrong there. The team, teams listening. So if it is, let me know. But it's just saying that, these people are the people they say they are, specifically Brian, and they have access to the actual core, wallets.
Great. Okay. Good to know. Well, tell us about the project.
Yeah, so going into the project now, sorry, this is it's just different than my usual process. I have a whole type of, I'm just used to a different type of thing. So apologies if I'm kind of talking over myself a little bit here, but like I said, Zebra Dao really is just combining the two systems of a DAO mechanism and an NFT platform. Again, it's going to be looking to expand that later, but really what it breaks down to is if you go on the core page of ZebraDAO.net, you can see it really comes down to three different things. The first thing is voting power. The second thing is rewards. And then the third thing is APY. Now, in my mind, rewards and APY sound like the exact same thing. And it actually took me a couple times to kind of take a double take there and be like, what does that actually mean? That sounds like the exact same thing. It's a little different. So voting power, first of all, I wanted to say this is going to be a through and through DAO. So normally I don't have projects that I actually speak about that are like this, to be honest. Most of them are hybrid DAOs, which we all know it means that, basically the community votes. And then if it's feasible, the project then says, sure, let's do it. Or they usually have a final vote that's either equally weighted or slightly less weighted, and the community has more of a say. But the community still has a big vote in it, but it's not a unanimous type of vote, right? To my understanding, this is going to be just a full-fledged DAO. So they're really, really embracing that. They are going to center it around proposals, though. So at least for the time being, the team will control the proposals, to my understanding. So it kind of is a hybrid system. But then as far as voting, not voting, that is fully done. So, if, let's say they're like, hey, should we lower the or increase taxes because there's zero tax on this? Should we increase tax to bring in even more revenue for the project, right? They could have bring it up to 1%, 2%, 5%, whatever. The community can vote on that, right? Now, where they want to bring this eventually is to a full decentralized approach where both proposals and voting is done by the actual community. But But at least to jumpstart it, especially when you're growing your community, you kind of have to give some direction. So to my knowledge, it's going to be that type of proposal structure. And then whatever is voted on is done. The team isn't going to have a weighted, advantage anywhere there. If it's voted on, it's done. If it's not going to happen. And all of it is going to be centered around how NFTs are brought into the space, how fees are worked in, and how expansion is worked when it comes to the B2B side of this technology. So that's basically what the voting is. So now with the rewards, basically what that's saying is they're going to be incentivizing actually voting, which is kind of nice. So, DAOs sound great, but unfortunately, a lot of the times they're not really used. Some people love them. Some people live for DAOs, right? They really love getting their voice heard and actually having it quantified in that way. But some people don't realize the power of it, or they do, but then they're busy, right? We got stuff to do. We're finding other projects. We're, putting this one on the back burner while it's like marinating and, gaining some X's, right? But the difference here is you're actually rewarded for your votes. So they're going to be giving, a reasonable amount of rewards for those votes. And what's great is they're also going to be making in-house NFTs as well. Now, this isn't official, but just kind of speculating here. It'd be really cool to be able to have some of those NFTs allocated for those people that vote consistently. So let's say month on month, user wallet 1, 2, 3, whatever, is consistently voting and staying active. Well, maybe you can allocate some NFTs. It doesn't need to be the rarest ones, but just as a thank you. But mainly it's going to come in the form of tokens. So that's the reward piece. And then APY, pretty self-explanatory. They're going to have staking rewards for the Zebra token. So that way, as you're waiting, you're earning those rewards and there's more incentive to be able to, kind of purchase and hold.
What aspect of the taxes? Oh, did I just go to Girl Optimist? I'm sorry, guys. What aspect of the taxes go towards the reward? You said there's an actual benefit to voting and that gets you paid. How much? And then what are the requirements for participating in the DAO? Does any holder can do it, or is it top holders?
That's a great question. As far as the taxes, what's interesting is there isn't actually any taxes currently. It's zero buy sell, which I think is kind of interesting. So as far as the rewards, I think they're just using the pre-minted token. So if you go to the actual token breakdown, they're utilizing some of those tokens to be able to give out rewards. And then later on, they are potentially planning to change that tax model. So that'll be one of the early proposals. But right now they want it to just be zero across the board. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's a lot of projects usually have a tax, especially on sell, so that way they can generate some income. But also some projects with zero tax can see a lot of success because people aren't worried about buying in or even selling, but more so buying in. If you're doing the proper marketing, you don't have to worry about, people being apprehensive to buy in. So it's a little bit of a risky play, to be honest, just in my opinion, from a third party. It's a little bit of a risky thing. But what I would say is the amount of marketing that they're doing and the partners they have, which are showcased on their main website here, they're definitely hedging their bets on, we're going to have enough volume to where it's going to be okay in the short term. And then we're going to be changing those taxes to make it sustainable in the long term. Because in the short term, you can do this. But when it comes to the long term, of course, it's not viable, right? You can't forever use pre-minted tokens. It doesn't work that way unless you have some sort of rebate system or something of the sort, which isn't the case here. It's just, the pre-minted tokens, and then they're going to be, implementing a tax later.
Okay. So, I guess that brings me to what is their token allocation so they can pay for this while they're, while they're waiting for taxes.
Yeah, so if we go to the pink sale page, I think that's usually what I reference a lot of the time. We can see here, as far as lock tokens, let me actually get to the piece here that kind of breaks it down a little bit further. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we have 1 billion Zebra tokens. So definitely a sizable amount to be able to do, this sort of thing versus, 1 million, or usually there's not anything less than 1 million. But we can see here 45% is locked, 2% is locked, which is going to be used for giveaways, 20% is allocated for the pre-sale. Liquidity is 9.9%, which, to be honest, this is a suggestion that I have for the team and that I've mentioned and I'll mention again. The liquidity ad is a little low at 10%, not huge. And also the liquidity ad percentage from pre-sale gain is 51%. So yeah, I like that they didn't set the soft cap very high, which is good. So there's potential for the fair launch to oversubscribe. But yeah, I wish there was a little bit more liquidity, just being completely honest. But to your question, as far as the actual tokens that are going to be used as rewards, I believe those are the lock tokens, the 45% here. Oddly enough, I don't actually see that in the lock records here. Maybe I'm just seeing it incorrectly, but they are locked. I'll have to circle back because I don't see it here, so I don't want to officially say that is that, but to my understanding it is. I'm just not seeing it in the lock records here. So I'm going to have to ask because I see their like team allocation with a slow release TGE next month, or actually started this month. So it's releasing 0.2 every 30 days and then 0.2 every 90 days. So those are team tokens. But as far as reward tokens, let me actually just ask. Let me see.
Interesting. Yeah, because this doesn't add up to that, though. That makes sense, right? So like,
no.
When I go to view all, it shows me nothing here. So could just be a
let me ask.
Or maybe because I'm on the wrong
chain.
Yeah.
No, that's a good analysis, but no, I'm on the proper chain and it's showing the same thing. So I think either it was misinput or there's something I'm not seeing. So I just figured I'd ask that. So are those token rewards? Okay, so I just asked. I should hear back. The team's online, so they're doing a couple things, but they should be able to circle back. But to my understanding, that 45% is going to be used for rewards. But also, if that's the case, then that means probably not going to be able to do that APY for a little bit. So let me figure out to see like when that exactly is going to be. Okay, it looks like you just saw it. I should get a response here soon. But yeah, basically, while I'm waiting for that. What I do like, again, is the fact that it's pretty simple. This project is really just those three things. So now once we get an answer on how exactly those pre-minted tokens are going to be used and where they're shown here, then it'll add a little bit more security. But what I like is that model can then be exported to other projects, and then they can hold some of these tokens to be able to participate and use that technology. So, again, if like, let's say a project, has an NFT platform or it's a, facet of their project, they can then say, okay, yeah, we want to have DAO voting on that. And we also want to have, some of the features that they're looking to bring to this DAO platform. So they're going to have like vote contests and, different little like battles that are really making that NFT platform interactive versus just being a place to just swap for NFTs and that's it kind of thing. So a little bit of a different approach, but honestly, it really comes down to that. So as far as like complexity in the project, it's honestly pretty simple, which I like. Most of the other stuff on the site, to be honest, is really just speaking to what is a DAO, why is it important, why are we doing a fair launch, that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to bore everyone here with that, but that's basically what it's showing here. So my request to them, and I always like to say it here, just being kind of transparent, is I would like a little bit more clarity, because like there's some good information here, but like that B2B implementation of DAO features is so cool. I understand they're trying to keep it close to their chest, but like that gets me excited, right? Like if I can get some details on that in the white paper, boom, I'm interested, right? And then also kind of clearing up the locks would be useful here. So a little bit of feedback, but also that's the advantage of being able to speak on behalf of these projects is, I'll speak well of them, but I'm also not afraid to give suggestions because, I want to make sure everyone who's potentially investing understands, what's here.
I love your due diligence very much so on this channel.
Thank you. Okay, so vestings too, but only other than on Pinkso. Okay, sorry. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, so we can see them on here, I think, right?
Yeah, it should show in the actual records, because as far as labeling, you can label anything whatever you want. So, unless it actually shows as locked in the lock records for Pink Sale, I wouldn't go off of that. So, yeah.
Okay.
I just asked again for clarity, but yeah. So, but I'll give it to you, man. I mean, if there's any questions you have that I can kind of get some answers for in the meantime, I'm not going to let go of that, because I really want to know what that is. Because, again, this is actually a good point of education for anyone listening. So I'm not afraid to say that either. Is, when you're looking at labels, the team can put in whatever they want as far as labels on that pie chart. Doesn't matter. They can literally label it whatever they want, right? Can label it as like Dogecoin fund or something, right? Like it's all about the lock records, because the lock records is actually showing on the smart contracts like what is being locked up, on chain, I should say, what is being locked up. So if you see those things locked up properly, then okay, good. Like, we're good to go. But yeah, just kind of keep an eye out for that. Not that this project is, malicious in any way or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but I may need to send you a DM after, Achilles, to maybe give some, follow-up answer to it in case I don't get one here.
No, that's no problem. All right. I mean, let's talk about the roadmap a little bit. So, or I'm sorry, you continue with your presentation. I'll ask at the end.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good transition. So we kind of talked about the fact that there's no token taxes. Basically, the overview of the soft cap being 50 BNB, and total supply being a billion. Going into the roadmap, we'll start from phase 1 here. So for anyone listening at home, you could just kind of go to the main page. Yeah, we already have it pulled up. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just so disjointed right now because I'm not used to having my phone in front of me. So okay, phase 1. What we have here is really the creation of this project, right? Setting up and connecting this team, which of course is already done. Creating the API and developing like an overview of what things are going to look like, i.e. the white paper, the website, the branding, which that I do really like. The branding is absolutely fantastic. Whoever their UI guy is doing a really good job here. So smart contract development and verified contract and audit, that's all been done, which by the way, if you go to the Pink Sale page, that's another thing that I like, is you can click right on the audit in KYC as well. Now again, that KYC is done by Authentics. Personally, I like to see a audit that's done by Pink Sale, or an audit that's done by, maybe one of those bigger companies, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. Just something to kind of look for. Now into phase 2, what we have is, there actually are going to be seeking out an audit and KYC from Pink Sale. So that's great. It doesn't actually cost that much money. It's probably just because they already had the other KYCs. They said, oh, let's have this as further marketing later on, which is good. And then setting up partnerships and contacts. That's pretty big, because again, if they're going to be implementing this as a B2B solution, you definitely want to be able to start to build those partnerships. And then they don't really mean anything unless you're actually showing that your project is working, that the DAO mechanism is working, that, there's excitement behind that, basically. So once they have that, then they can start to, build the bridges. And you can do that early, but you can't really do anything with it until you have a working system here. Now, going into phase 3, this is where the first marketing push is being done. So like it says here, mainly on banners, targeted call channels, that sort of thing. They actually already have a little bit of a YouTube campaign as well. If you go on the Pink Sale page, you can see kind of a YouTube shout out about the project, which is cool. Expect a little bit more there, but mainly around banners and visibility there, which I think could work in their favor given their branding. The branding is spot on. So, if they can continue that type of branding and iconography within their marketing, then that'll be great. So, but of course, to be seen, right? I want to actually see that sort of stuff, but you can already see some of the videos on YouTube, which is great. Now, fair launch is scheduled for tomorrow. So that's going to be happening at 5 p.m. UTC, and it ends at the 5th. At the same time, 5 p.m. UTC. So you have a couple days to participate, especially a project for this. This is definitely one, and I'm sure Achilles would say the same thing. You always want to do your own research, but especially here, do your own research, please. Join the Telegram and say, hey, I really like the logos. I really like the design, but can you explain a little bit about this? Maybe get a little bit more into the tokenomics lockup breakdown. How is the B2B features going to be implemented? And, a little bit more there would be great, right? So that's the kind of questions that would be great to kind of ask there. So Going into phase 3, that's when, we already went over that. Sorry. They're also going to be listing on an actual additional decentralized exchange. So first of all, it's going to be, a PancakeSwap, but they are looking to potentially launch at other places. They'd love to get into places such as like BuySwap or the like, but it takes a little bit of work to really get proper marketing in those places. So it makes sense to split your LPs. But first, it is going to be on PancakeSwap, which, is really easy to get into. So, but then from there, you can get into like, a few more, like a little bit more bespoke ones for more visibility. Now, going into phase 4, that's where they have their first centralized exchange listing. I don't have exactly the one that they're planning for, but to my understanding, they are looking for one that is geo-accessible to multiple different people. What comes to mind there is Bitmart. I really like Bitmart. I haven't personally used them, but I registered on their platform and I'm like, damn, everything's here. You can buy meme coins here. What is this? And for me, I assume it's probably the same for you, Achilles. It's like, wait a second, I thought we didn't get anything in the US. So it's a nice little relief. But I like Bitmart. So maybe they'll look at that, maybe another one, but I know that they did want to focus on kind of a more global type of approach. So now going into phase 4, a little bit more into phase 4, we talked about the first centralized exchange listing, a little bit more discovery on a second DEX. Now we go into the actual DAO-enabled NFTs. So what's cool here is this is where the system that we talked about is actually introduced, where you can actually get rewards for voting and then also see a yield on your Zebra token by staking it in to get an APY. Now, again, we're using pre-mint first. Again, see if I can get a little bit of clarity on that, but if not, just bring it over to the Telegram and ask there. The team's more than happy to. But after it will be voted on, that, to my knowledge, will be one of the first votes that happen is, well, how do we make this sustainable now? Because we do have 1 billion tokens, but even if those 45% are that, then we still run out after a while. It doesn't become sustainable. They all get dumped. What a lockup's going to look like, so on and so on. So that's where things will look to be changed with the first couple of votes. When we get into phase 5, so this is looking at like early quarter 2023, bug bounty program and governance tool and Zebra NFTs. So they're going to kind of be penetration testing their technologies, which is great, especially because they're going to be, featuring those as technologies that they're selling to other projects, and how they're going to get access to them is through these tokens. So it'll add a little bit of buy pressure if the system is robust. Now, the other part I didn't really talk about is Zebra NFTs. So just as they're going to be having this technology as a add-on, they're also going to be launching their own NFTs, which is cool. So of course, Zebra themed. I try to get a little bit as far as what they look like, but since it's so far in the future, they didn't really have too much just yet. They have the basic concepts. Think of a lot of the stuff you would see on the website with kind of that futuristic type of Zebra. Expect that type of thing in a series that will be very limited edition and potentially have some features as well later on, which would be pretty cool. So that's kind of what that's all about. Then you have mainnet release, and they're also going to be implementing some NFT games as well. So like I said, there's going to be DAO contests and, things to do with voting. They're also going to be doing the same with their NFTs, their in-house NFTs. Something else that's not noted here, but I did learn from talking with Brian, is they're going to be looking at fractionalized NFTs as well. So the fact that you can own a part of an NFT and then profit from it and still get an APY, that'll be pretty cool to see. Again, I want to see these things in action first. So for me, it's very much so show me what I'm investing in before I invest in it. But a lot of people aren't like that, right? And if you're not like that, just be very careful with what you're investing in. But you can make insane profits if you're investing in the right stuff. So how you make sure it's the right stuff is, first of all, you listen to something like this, right? An AMA, which again is just for education to kind of spur some interest. And then always the second step is go into the Telegram and ask further questions. Before you invest a dime, always go into the Telegram, ask more questions. And if you're getting good answers and you feel good about it, then consider it. The good thing here is there's more than a day to invest. You don't have to invest day of, right? You can take a couple days, do some research, and then decide from there. That's what I would suggest. That's how I invest. So now going into phase 6, which is kind of the future is what they're calling it. So we can think of that as like Q3 2023 and beyond. You're looking at interlacing this type of technologies with the metaverse, which is pretty cool. So can't get too much into that because it's so far in the future, but we can kind of imagine what that would look like. So being able to see your NFTs come alive, your Zebra NFTs, maybe being able to vote in the metaverse, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if I've really seen that before. Usually it's done through like a snapshot website or otherwise. So that'd be kind of a first as well. So, and then also Zebra Dao philanthropy. Again, I would love to see that because I've actually been part of live stream events where the project I've represented has gifted, basically tokens to on-chain charities that are verifiably doing good stuff for the world. And that'd be so cool to have as part of this DAO here. So it looks like that's, being considered later on. And then, further roadmaps coming at the end here. So again, once you get into like anything into next year is really like, this is kind of what we're looking for, but it's not done yet. It's just kind of concepts. Whenever you're looking at a white paper, that's something too is, and anything past the year is it's ideas that they think are good, but they're not done yet usually. So just kind of some ideas there. But anyways, that's the roadmap. A little lengthy there, so apologies, but that's really what they're looking to do. But again, it just comes down to those core 3 things as far as what you're getting for investing in this token is those voting powers, which is the big piece because this is, a DAO type project around NFTs, the rewards for voting, and then APY for investing your tokens.
Very interesting. All right, so I guess my only questions, this is pretty thorough. Okay, I have 2. So first off, API test. Well, what are they testing exactly? Integrating into what blockchain? This is pre-launch or after launch?
Which piece? Sorry, I scrolled up.
Phase second check mark. First API test, infrastructure testing, and blockchain integration. Do you know what that means?
Infrastructure testing and blockchain integration. Well, the API test makes sense because they're making sure that they're able to export this and mesh it with other projects. As far as infrastructure testing and blockchain integration, the blockchain integration, it's already there because it's being built as an EVM compatible app. So I think it's just saying that it works at scale no matter like what the blockchain, as long as it's EVM compatible. Like, if someone's trying to use this on a blockchain that's not, it's funny. I don't even know any non-EVM compatible blockchains. I'm sure there's tons, I'm sure, but like, Ethereum, obviously, like, Phantom, that's EVM compatible. BSC Phantom is EVM compatible. I can't even think of like the big ones that wouldn't be. I'm sure there is. Someone's probably like, oh, he's an idiot. Like it's this one, but I don't know that. So I guess it's just making sure that the blockchain is meshed well.
Okay, so it just works with anything that's going to be like an Ethereum fork, more or less.
Exactly, and I did get an answer, by the way. That 45% lock, they're saying it's because Pink Sale doesn't account for the third party like vesting partner that they used, so they locked it third party. So my next question was, which one? where did you lock these, right? Because then we can track that, right? Because everything's on chain. So let me see if I can get an answer to that by the time we end here. Because again, I like to end with getting as much information as I can out to the community, so that way it's up to them to decide. But they said they used the third party, so that should be pretty easy to verify. So we'll look for that.
I love that. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. Okay. So I guess my only real question is then, in the bear market, I've seen a lot of great utility projects. I really have. And I have seen a lot of them not necessarily succeed purely because of lack of visibility. And, it's easy when the volume's insane to spend that on marketing, which I guess in this case is zero tax. So it's kind of a moot point, but what are their marketing plans for, I guess this is a marketing plan for the fair launch itself, but post-launch, right? What's going to keep this going to get them to, Q2 of 2023?
Yeah. So what really got us to where we're at right now, but then also expanding out, It's kind of what we had mentioned earlier, like a lot of like token listing type of site banners. So Coin Sniper, even like BSC Scan, like they're more expensive, but like those type of banners I think would do really well here. Again, given their type of brand that they're bringing to the table. But past that, what I would like to see, this is just personally, because I always like to give my take on stuff, since they have already gotten into YouTube a little bit through some of the reviews, which actually there's one right when you click on the fair launch link. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more reviews. I say that because one of the projects that I represent, right? I won't say its name for obvious reasons here because, we're focusing on this project, but they have a massive blitz campaign on YouTube with mega influencers, right? Like real big influencers. But the focus is not hype. It's focus around utility. What do I get for investing? If I put $1,000 in, what do I get? Obviously, it's still kind of speculation. You can't be certain on numbers, but as an estimate, that's what people want to hear. So what I would love to see here is just a different approach. But if I'm participating in this DAO system, right? What do I get as an NFT creator? What do I get as a platform, as a project? If I'm a meme coin and I launched an NFT platform around our meme NFTs, why do I want your technology versus building my own DAO? I can just use a snapshot, right? What am I getting from you? So that's the type of stuff I would like to see. The other stuff, it's kind of played out, to be honest. Like it's kind of played out. Now, you still want to see it, right? Like, for example, our mutual friend Karan, like he has a lot of useful marketing tools that he uses that are constantly changing. But it comes to a point where, like you said, a couple phases in, once you're deep in the roadmap, but then what? You have to have utility proof cases after that. You have to actually show that things are working. We're doing things different. We're not just saying that. You have to show like the proof and what's happening. So that's what I would want to see. But officially, a continuation of what is already done. But if I was on the project, right, like on the marketing team, I would suggest 100% going towards YouTube, massive blitz campaign. I know they're listening, and I know that they kind of already like some of the ideas I had suggested. So I would say a blitz campaign on YouTube would be hyper successful if it's explained properly.
Excellent. All right. I see a bunch of hands popping up here, so I think it's time to move on to the community question times. Guys, if you'd like to ask a question in BC, just go ahead and raise your hand. I'm going to unmute Mr. Samson. Samson, go ahead, please.
Oh, all right. Can I ask my question about police?
You absolutely may, my man. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right. You actually asked something, so I was cut off at some point. So I just want to be sure. Adam, if you talked about it, actually asked something about the DAO. How can one participate in DAO? Is it for top token holders or? Yeah. So that's my question. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. No, super good question. So to my knowledge, you're going to have to own just the tokens for now. They were thinking about having the idea of like owning the tokens and the NFTs, but I think it's a little bit prohibitive as far as access. So from what I understand, just the tokens for the time being. Now, as far as exact amounts, since it's a little bit further in, they first have to kind of set everything up first and, kind of iron out everything and then have a test net and so on. The exact amount has yet to been decided. And to be honest, like that was one of your first questions, Achilles, as well. And I totally did not answer it. So apologies. So thank you for bringing it back up. The exact amount has not been decided just yet. It could be in the coming days, but not just yet. But good question. So, but not to go past that, I would say for any project, especially ones where we're having these interactive conversations like this, what always comes to mind is let's keep it accessible, right? Someone with $10 can still vote. Someone with $50 can still vote. You don't want to have the only people that can vote are whales, because then, first of all, there's 5 votes, 10 votes, right? Maybe. But it's also not really achieving anything. So, Yeah, great question there.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Achilles. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, man. Who is next? Go ahead and raise your hand, and if you go, oh, bless you.
Thank you so much, man.
I want to ask in VC, you can jump in the most recent comment and most recent post, and I will do my best to read your question.
Yeah, what's up, Adam? Oh,
hey, man.
Yeah, you can go. You can go on. Who's that person who talked?
Shimba, that's you, man. Go for it. And then we'll
I heard someone. Yeah, sure. No, I have not tried yet. The pre-sale. I mean, the pre-sale fair launch yet. But I'm curious. If there's like no boundaries or no hard cap and it will be for 3 days. Isn't it the hype will be lowering down or something like that? Because I've not tried it yet, so I'm a bit curious about it.
Oh man, Achilles, like, what the heck? See, I want to say that you like pre-select these questions. I know you don't, but I say that because these questions are so much better. Now,
I love credit more than anything, and Shimba in particular.
No, but he's always good, man. I've seen him in other communities too, and he's still awesome. and he's always representing Achilles too. So I love you, Shimba. But to answer your question, yeah. So for a pre-sale, basically, right? There's a soft cap. Once that soft cap is hit, we're off to the races. The more contributions past that soft cap dilute the amount of tokens you're getting for every BNB that you're putting in, or a fractional amount of a BNB. So basically, the more people that go in after the soft cap is met, the less tokens you get. So basically, there's an incentive to have things hit soft cap, but not exceedingly higher. The reason why I say that is you want to have the buy pressure after. What happens a lot of the times, which your intuition is 100% correct, is it oversubscribes substantially, 3, 5, 10 times over, and then who's buying at launch? People that forgot about it? Right? Like,
Yeah.
It crashes. It absolutely like plummets, right? So what you want to see is, enough hype at the beginning to obviously fill soft cap, but you want to see proper marketing done after. So that's where I would really say, I want to see this team prove that they're doing those token listing sites the right way, that they're getting, yes, banners out there, great, but let's also get additional influencer YouTube videos. There's some, but I want to see more. Maybe even some stuff with TikTok. Now, TikTok, since it's not a meme coin, kind of a loss of value there as far as investment. I think people interested in a DAO are more serious investors, or people wanting to be more serious investors. So you have to figure out where you market that properly, right? What I would look at if I was running marketing for this project, right, would be I would look at projects that were very successful with snapshot systems and then replicate some of their marketing, because obviously they're hitting those groups that care about DAOs. I can tell you one place, Twitter Spaces. There's a couple serious influencers on Twitter Spaces that command a heck of an audience when it comes to DAOs. So that's what I would look for. And again, that's part of what I do for these projects is I speak on behalf of them, but then I also give my like high level overview, whether it be correct or not. I say it anyways, as far as what I think would be best and what I would love to see. And then a lot of the times they make those changes. And that's the cool thing about this is, it's not me here convincing you, please invest. Thank you so much. And believe me, it's saying, let's talk about it. Let's get the hard questions. Let's get the good questions. And then let's make this project better together. And then if you like the project by the end of it, when things go live tomorrow, then invest. Or if you want to wait, see how things plays out, you can totally do that too. But hopefully that answered your question as far as like, what is a fair launch and how is it really successful or not successful? Another thing that makes it successful too is if you have responsible locks for launch. Saying you get 10% at launch and we're going to be doing massive marketing. This one doesn't have a TGE unlock that's vested. It is fully unlocked. So what I would love to see is a abundance of marketing to continue that buy pressure. Because, it's probably going to hit 50 BNB soft cap, but past that, you gotta put in a lot of marketing. So hopefully that answered.
Yeah. And also I think, one thing that we can add is that, as you are always mentioning, is because we are having adding value because of the utilities that we have. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. As always.
Jimbo. Okay, I'm going to ask one question from the community, and then I have a comment on fair launches that I have been watching a lot recently. So Whirlpool wants to know, why not open to multi-chain to avoid cases like high gas fees.
Ooh, interesting. I'm getting a little bit of feedback, so I just heard my "ooh, interesting" twice, which when I heard it again wasn't as interesting as I made it to be. But anyway, I think the biggest thing is you don't want to fragment too much at the beginning, because I can tell you from working on projects, right? Oh man. Not focusing on the main chain where the launch is going to be happening 100% at first is just a recipe for disaster. Unless you have a massive team, like I'm talking like 20, 30 people working on the team, a more than one chain launch happening within a short span of time or at the same time is near impossible or just a recipe for disaster. So what you want to do is you want to have a low-fee blockchain such as BSC, which has still a ton of eyes on it, and then strategically release to a new chain that either is specific to the sector that you're releasing your technology on, such as NFTs would be good for Ethereum still, especially with the lower gas fees. Ethereum would be an optimal place to launch next. But you could also look at emerging blockchains or newer blockchains that don't have your technology yet, that you could still be the number one, the number two player on that blockchain if you launched. So hopefully that kind of answers. Again, you don't want to do that. It sounds good, but it's not really that good when you're fragmenting too much at launch. But I like the idea of more exposure, but it's useful the most when it's spread over time.
Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the question, man. Okay, so my one comment on fair launches lately is there's a sweet spot for them that I'm seeing on the charts, right? If a fair launch oversubs by, let's say, like 50%, probably a good chance it's going to do well at launch. If a fair launch oversubs by 600%, my personal humble suggestion would be to buy it at launch, because there's going to be a dump on the BNB amount. And yeah, they're an interesting concept. I never thought the industry would go that way.
It sounds the most equitable, right? But when you think about it, it's kind of not, right? Like it's kind of not. Yeah, it's kind of not, because it's kind of taking advantage of new investors' mindset, thinking, oh, fair launch means I'm getting the same price as everybody, right? No, not really. Because yes, technically, but also no, because like you said, there's going to be a massive dump if it's way oversubscribed. And then people don't understand why. Well, there's no buy pressure. There's no buy. It doesn't make sense. So I like that these launch pads are playing with different ideas, subscription models, pre-sales, fair launches. All cool. That's great. But any of them have to still have the proper amount of buy pressure after. Now, what I do like here is that there's zero buy tax, zero sell tax. So that's good. That's in its favor, right? Because you can even have something that has the potential for a lot of buy pressure at launch, but because the sell tax is like 25% and the buy tax is 15%, well, damn, I might make a trade, but I don't really want to now. Versus a 0% buy sell tax, the only thing you run into is the aforementioned, lack of buy pressure potentially if there's not proper marketing, but also you run the risk of bots, and bots can wreck you on a 0% buy sell tax. So what I would like to see is, some of the anti-bot features being used. Now, as far as Pink Sale, to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I didn't look into this one as far as if it has their anti-bot features. I don't see them. I could be wrong, and maybe they can add that in after, but I didn't see that. So whether that's effective or not, up for debate. But I didn't see that here. So you're going to kind of want to watch that as well. That would maybe be a great follow-up question for the team is, how is this token protected from launch bots? How do I know it's not going to be shot up astronomically and then dumped down and then cascaded dump sold on, right? So just some good food for thought as far as follow-up questions. But yeah, that's a great observation, Achilles, as far as fair launches. Unfortunately, it's been the case for many, many a project.
Many projects lately. And the meta is quite interesting.
Oh, right. By the way, real quick, you can verify that additional lock, by the way, for anyone interested. You go on unicrypt.network and then type in the contract address and you should find it there.
That's lock. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So again, see, this is great. Why it's good to have these conversations because, not to get down on the team. I like to stay positive, but might be something good to throw on the website, maybe have it pinned. I don't know. So, yeah. So thank you for asking the question. And I appreciate that we got an answer. So that's basically, what that's all about.
Again, what I'm loving in the bear market is a good team is actually willing to stand up to these questions. And
yes. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like it's so funny. A little bit of a tangent here. I hope you don't have an AMA like starting like right after, but if you do, just okay. But some projects hate having me as a host, bro. Because for first of all, they're like, how much are you? And I tell them, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, bro, because I dive into this stuff, man. Like, I'm not gonna like present junk. And then another thing, I'm like, I'm not gonna be super like charitable to your project. If it's a good project, I'm going to speak to the moon about it. If the content's there, if it's not, I'm going to speak about what's there. And then, if there's things that we need to work on, great. It's a learning opportunity for you. It's one of those things like when you don't need the money, it becomes a lot more fun. It becomes so much more fun. Like I can tell, for example, you, right? I think why we get along so well is you're not just trying to crank out these AMAs. You're having fun with it. You're asking the right questions. You have a community that's asking the right questions and you're vetting this stuff. That's why you do the video, chats prior and all that sort of stuff because you're doing it for fun. Yeah, it's profitable, man. I mean, we got to pay for our Teslas, right? Yeah, of course. But at the same time, like you're not like so hungry for the money that's it. So those are the type of people I like to work with, right? That's why I get along with Karan. That's why I get along with you. For investors listening, those are the type of people you want to build out as your like friend circle here. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to say you're correct. Yeah. Projects that are willing to stand up to those questions are the best versus the ones that get all defensive and weird. Those are just, I don't know. I don't want to invest in those.
Man, even some of the big ones lately have been exceedingly defensive. Like, because I get it, the market does determine a little bit of user behavior. It's difficult, but guys, what are you doing? Like, I'm not just giving you my money unless you have a good reason for me to do so.
You should earn the trust versus just feeling like, oh, I have really good technology, so I deserve the money. No. It doesn't matter if you have the next big thing. You gotta pitch it. You better showcase it the right places. And for good reason, man. People have been so burned here, right? Everyone has lost hundreds or thousands of dollars in rugs, in junk. What is it? A couple months ago, I bought the wrong address. How embarrassing was that, bro?
I've done. Oh yeah, I've thrown 3 being break pre-sale contract.
Oh, dude, the sinking feeling on that is the worst ever. And it's like, how do you even explain that to someone? You tell your friend who's not in crypto, oh, I bought the wrong contract, and they're like, what are you even talking about? Like,
yeah, putting it to your accountant. Like, no, that was a 100% loss. He's like, but it's still there. Like, but you can't sell it. Like,
yeah. He's like, okay, well, we're gonna pass that one over. Like, I don't know, but anyways, no, I'll give it back to you, Ben. Go ahead.
Okay, final question we have here is from Tom Holland. It says, on the phase 5 in the roadmap, I saw Zebra NFTs. What impact do these NFTs have in my possible earnings?
Oh, good question. So right now it's a little vague in the sense that they're working on the artistic vision for those NFTs first. Like I said, it's going to be kind of that futuristic look, something tying into what you're currently seeing on the website as far as color schemes, as far as kind of how those zebras are going to look, right? They're not going to be zebras like you'd see in the wilds. But as far as use case, well, the collectability first, which is a big one, right? Having a price floor that's always going up as they release series. But also, they've talked about having benefits from those when it comes to the APY. So as they look to implement a buy-sell tax, right, with some of the first couple of votes, or some of the first couple proposals, I should say, you're going to be able to unlock a little bit more earning potential, maybe like a multiplier on your earning potential of your tokens staked in. So that's the only real one that I've seen right now. You can do some fun stuff later, like once you're actually established and you've gone multi-million for market cap and you have a good, amount of profit coming in. Well, then you can do events, you can do, like tickets to stuff and all sorts of stuff. But all of that is just nonsense if you don't have a successful project. So at its core, it's going to be collectability and then also boost to rewards mainly.
Excellent. Excellent. I like any NFTs that actually play a role in the project. I will straight tell them, like, if your NFTs aren't financially tied into the project, it's just a separate thing, man. Like, go away.
Exactly. It's just like an added little flair, and it's like, well, why do I want these then? I don't understand. So it has to tie it. Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Well, Adam, any closing comments you have? As always, thank you so much for being here, man. I really love spending time with you and hearing how in detail you go into projects. But I will end the recording in just a minute.
Well, the only closing comment is, man, I gotta spend more time here, bro. Like when I'm driving around or something, I might just pop in near the end of an AMA and just kind of shoot the shit because I miss talking to you, bro. You and Dumbledore are awesome, man. I talked to him one other time. I think he actually hosted me while you were away. That's the last time I was here. I think he hosted the AMA while you're on vacation. He does an awesome job too. So like. I love the team you have here, man. I love the community. This is by far one of my favorite channels, and I've hosted on a lot. And it's also one that I recommend the most, by the way, too. So if you're listening in your project, whether you want to potentially employ me or more importantly, if you're looking for good quality AMA channels, this is a good one, guys. They ask good questions. It's a real community. It's not BS. So yeah, man, just want to say a thanks and, looking forward to chat more. We gotta go to a launch soon, man, in Florida. We gotta make that happen.
I mean, okay, hold on. Let me end the recording real fast.